So are write-in candidates allowed in California? The California Elections Code, Division 8, Part 3, deals with write-in candidates in this state. Chapter 1 contains general provisions, and Section 8500 of the Elections Code provides that every person who desires to be a write-in candidate and have his or her name written on the ballot for an elected office, it is counted only if they have filed a statement of write-in candidacy, as well as submitted the requisite number of signatures on nominating papers. The statement of write-in candidacy is required to contain information including their name, residence address, a declaration stating that the candidate is a write-in candidate, the title of the office for which they are running, the party nomination which he or she is seeking, the date of the election, a certification of the candidate's complete voter registration and party affiliation for the preceding 10 years if they were eligible to vote, as well as a statement that the candidate meets the statutory and constitutional requirements for that office. Note that a person may not be a write-in candidate at the general election for a voter-nominated office. Elections Code Section 8601 requires the statement and the nomination papers to be available on the 57th day prior to the election for which the candidate is filing as a write-in candidate. And then those papers have to be delivered to the elections official who is conducting the election no later than the 14th day prior to the election. Section 8602 of the Elections Code requires the nominating papers for a write-in candidate to be basically complying with a specified form. Section 8603 of the Elections Code requires signers of nomination papers for write-in candidates to be voters in the district or the political subdivision for which the candidate is to be voted on. Section 8604 prohibits any fee or charge to be required of a write-in candidate, except in the case of a candidate for city office. Section 8605 provides that no person whose name has been written in on a ballot for any office at the direct primary can have his or her name placed upon the ballot as a candidate for that office for the ensuing general election, except in very specified circumstances. And then Section 8606 of the Elections Code prohibits a person from being a write-in candidate at the general election for any voter-nominated office. We also have Chapter 2 that deals with presidential electors. And Section 8650 provides that any group of individuals equal in number to the number of presidential electors to which the state of California is entitled and who desire to be write-in candidates for presidential electors pledged to a particular candidate for president and vice president are required to file a declaration of write-in candidacy. And Section 8651 requires the declaration of write-in candidacy for a presidential elector to contain specified information similar to the one discussed earlier. And then 8652 of the Elections Code requires the declaration of write-in candidacy to be filed with the Secretary of State no later than the 14th day prior to the general election. And finally, Section 8653 provides that only those names written on the ballot at the general election for the office of president and vice president for which a group of presidential electors are pledged on the declaration filed are to be counted as actual votes.